Perfect. And we are live, my brother. And we are so excited to join the world with our dear brother Sean Erick, who
Hi,
you have
world.
exactly. World, this is Sean. Sean, this is the world. And our dear brother, honored to call you our dear brother, and our journey we've been on. And you your profession doesn't define how big your heart and soul is. Yes, you have been given the incredible gift of playing sweet, incredible music from your trumpet for many world-renowned artists, as you are an incredible artist around the world. And through, again, our dear brother Brian, we were honored to meet you. And also our dear brother Spencer, we are honored to meet you. So as I know, and Marla knows, you wear so many beautiful hats, just not as a musician, but as a brother, as helping and mentoring and spreading your light and love for so many causes, which I know you're very humble, and I love you for that, because it is you, that is your authentic self. So again, yes, Sean, this is the world. This is my brother Sean.
Woo, that's a big introduction. Yeah.
Beautiful. Wow.
Tell us a lot about yourself. Tell us the journey. Tell us whatever your heart wants to share.
I mean, it's been a long journey. I could say that out of all the many people that I've been fortunate, and I won't say some unfortunate, because it's all part of something, but I've met a lot of people. I'm the only person I know with my specific set of circumstances, and it's been a tough road in terms of finding people to share, everything. I don't have a problem telling my story, but in just feeling like somebody can truly understand it, it's pretty difficult. I grew up in South Berkeley, with Section 8 and Meals on Wheels, and that's something that a lot of people are familiar with, being of low income. But I also grew up in a very diverse community with all sorts of influence, music, food. We all went to school together, rich, poor, mixed. And so that was a very unique experience. My mom had a whole slew of health problems with me growing up, and my father wasn't around, so there was a whole issue with that. I had a pretty bad head injury going into third grade, which gave me obsessive compulsive disorder like overnight. I woke up the next day with 100.68.8 fever.
Wow.
And so like my elementary formative years got kind of skewed. In 1 year, I got put in the slow kid class, and then I got put in the accelerated class, and then I got kicked out of that, and I went right back to school. And just that feeling of displacement has kind of stuck with me for a long time. I got introduced to my instrument, the trumpet, in fourth grade, when basically they said, hey, you could either go make noise in the gym every Tuesday, or you could read quietly Tuesday. And of course, I wanted to make noise, and I'm pretty sure teachers were like, no, he's going to the band room. And it was nothing that I necessarily wanted to do, but I had, 4 or 5 of my friends, my neighborhood buddies, wanted to do it. So I was like, yeah, cool. And I had a bunch of teachers throwing me out of class, locking me out, just saying I'll never amount to anything. And, it took very special, warm, big-hearted people to see through the outer layer of chaos that, it was a defense that I had to put up for myself. And again, because there wasn't this significant source of understanding about all these things that had already happened to me before I was a teenager, they just wrote me off as this dirty little hippie rough kid. and, wanted nothing to do with me. And to their credit, they had 30 other kids in class that they had to deal with and 7 other classes. And, it's a poor system for somebody like me to be in. All that being said, is much of a interesting relationship between me and my mom. She did always have my best interest forward. She found these programs for low-income families. I got into this music schools. I got to play hockey in the Bay as a poor kid, like in California. It just doesn't make sense, but I got to get my aggression out in a positive way between music and hockey and wrestling. And, then that kind of just sent me in a path towards that, and just doors kept opening. I went to college in Boston, Berklee College of Music. Had a interesting, good and bad time there as well. And met some people that got me out to LA, which felt a little closer to home, but far enough from it to keep me motivated and not just get stuck in the normal routine. And then me and my guys out here just been ripping and running, blazing our own paths, setting new standards, creating all sorts of stuff. I mean, I don't think it's possible to not have heard us, even if you don't know who we are, that's my favorite part, because I can still, like, nobody knows who I am. If you know our crew's name, the Regiment Horns, if you're familiar with that, you'd be like, oh, okay, that's the Regiment Horns, but you'd have to be in the kind of position to know about that or look for it. But then if you say all the names of people that we've played for and things that we've done, you'd be like, that's crazy. And so it's just been it's like a Dewey Cox story. It's an interesting, it's a beautiful ride, because I got all sorts of highs and lows and peaks, valleys, adventures. Feels like my life has been like a Lord of the Rings trilogy. So it's been quite good. So and that also leads to meeting you guys, and it's been awesome.
Wow. One, thank you for sharing your journey, your heart, and what Marla and I just give you such props to your authentic self and your truth and your struggles of real life that no one cares to share, right? And to really look inside who Sean is. And thank you for allowing us to come into your heart. Thank you for sharing our heart with us. So grateful, my brother. And it just makes us love you even more, which is hard to believe because you already know how much we love you.
Oh, man.
And we are family. We are brothers. And that's what Marla and I feel so blessed that Brian and Spencer brought us together. And I want to share that journey because it's been pretty miraculous ride together, but your stories and how you received this and your first intentions you chose and really how it impacted you, because the first night we got to meet you here, and you're gonna step back, but here you invited us to, I'm not about names, but when Justin Timberlake was in town, you said, come on, join the band, come on backstage. We're gonna have an incredible show together. And we're out there watching you guys just rock. And you're up on stage and you're doing one of these to Marla and I, like, I've got my intention stick on. And we were just like, still makes my arm hairs stand up because I was feeling that love and that light coming from the stage. But that wasn't this, it was this of you really shining bright, which you always do. And I just wanted to have that little introduction because I want you to back up a step to share how you received this and what you chose and what intentions. I know, right? I'm good. So tell us. So yes, Brian put us together, who I can't wait to get him on this next call with us because his journey has been beautiful as well. And I'm and Marla are so blessed and grateful Brian brought us to you, because since then we have been like this, even though we may not speak every day, literally, and I know you're going to laugh, I could think of you and you're like, man, I was just going to call you. And
oh yeah, it's kind of, it's weird sometimes. I'm like, what he's like, it's like that Yoda Force stuff. I'm like, I literally just thought, or like I'll look at the my odometer on my car and it got these succession of numbers, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, that's them. You'd be like, how you doing? I'm like, yo, like how did you do that? That was crazy.
We're so
yeah.
connected, it's ridiculous. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So I'll let you share.
Well, I mean, sometimes people have been like, "Yo, you think too much, and not everything is as connected as it seems." And I'm like, I can't really agree with you, because again, somebody that we went to college with, we played with, his name's Keith Harris, and he's the producer, drummer for all sorts of people. And then we were playing a show in Vegas, and he was like, "Yo, you should meet up with my guy Brian." And there's certain cities where it's easy, and certain cities where it's hard, certain cities where there's a lot of people we gotta take care of and whatever. But when somebody like Keith, just the kind of person he is, calls me to do something, like, because first of all, it's something that he wouldn't normally do unless it meant something.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, okay, if that's his family, then I'm gonna go. So then I ran out and met Brian for the first time. We linked up, and it was just, it's kind of like family you haven't met yet.
Yeah.
And just a lot of things make sense, and we just kept in contact. And then he brought attention to this guy, which has been a powerful thing. I've been wearing it since I've had it. But then that got us to you, and just got all these other things connected. And it's just been like this, all the connections and timing of these events has just been like, again, I can't not see how that's important. The construction and the storyline and the connections, and it's like, you don't think any of this is relevant? You think this is all this cosmic, like, crazy, just random thing? I'm like, no, because if this didn't happen, that wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have met them. This thing wouldn't, that definitely wouldn't have happened. That did happen. And it's all because of these things. And I'm just like, it's all connected, and it's all beautiful when you take a step back and you realize the web that's woven. And it's hard to see the forest from the trees sometimes, but it's really nice to back up and really have this beautiful story, and know that it's just been this true blessing to be a part of. Because again, I'm just one cog in the wheel of this whole thing, and my story is crazy. So imagine yours, and then his, and theirs, and this and that, and it's just like, oh, come on, this is meant to be. It's awesome.
Totally. And that's what's so beautiful, isn't it? To know that even though we're all one, we still have our unique tools.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what we do with those tools to help and touch and inspire someone else, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we are a musician, or whether we're making coffee for someone,
Mm-hmm.
or whether we're doing landscaping, whatever you're doing in life, it's to touch someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's so beautiful what you just said.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Go ahead.
It's so beautiful. I was going to say, because what we were sharing prior to coming on, I want to have you share what were your first words and how it impacted you, because it was so beautiful. And that's why I said, like, okay, take 5. We got to get this recorded, because this is just wow. So when you first received yours, what were your first intentions? And then Brian, as you said, chose one for you as well.
Yeah. So I had love, light, and I have what's my third one in there? Because I'm on Facebook Live. I'm like, but what I was sharing with you earlier was that I've heard it be put different ways. Sometimes you got to ask for something specific, just to for like seasonal things, and go through it, and this is what I need right now. And then there's just like these larger goals that, you know, you just kind of aim that way, these things go along with it. And that's generally how I've led my life. Um, my small short goals, I haven't really, they just kind of happen as an obstacle as I'm heading towards a general direction. So, you know, broad strokes, love and light. And then the gentleman, Brian, who we've been speaking about, put one in there for me. And I was saying to Scott earlier, it was like, I was kind of taken back from it because it was gratitude. And it made me a little uncomfortable and kind of just like, yo, like, do you think I'm not grateful? Like, thanks for the necklace. Or like, do you think, like, I mean, I've been getting you in the shut. Like, what do you mean gratitude? And just over time, I've become like more familiar with how to be grateful in just all these moments. And it's not just in reciprocity to another, it's to oneself as well, and just to all sorts of your surroundings that happen. And when you get caught up in you know, things and struggles that are difficult to see through, there's always something you could be grateful for, and there's generally more of those than not. And you know, like, people throwing golf clubs and getting, you know, throwing their instruments, and you know, yeah, that sucks, you had a bad golf game, but you're out on a golf course and you're out with your friends and you're out in the sun and you got a life and you could go do that. You have golf clubs to throw, like, whatever. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, you're right. And we spoke about this, I think, this one night, many nights. We've had many incredible, beautiful, blessed calls. But we said, for the first time, when we open our eyes the first thing in the morning, right? We're blessed. We have a roof. We have a bed. We are so blessed. We need to be so grateful every second of the day, because again, think about someone who didn't open their eyes today. Think about COVID. That someone doesn't have a roof. They're sleeping on the street. They don't have a bed. So when we put that, as you do know, into perspective of how much we have, not what else we need, that's the gratitude.
Right.
Yeah.
Start with what we do have, not what we don't have, because we live in such a material world that
Yeah.
everyone's basing decisions,
Mm.
right, on the external versus looking
Absolutely.
within themselves and appreciating, having the gratitude for everything that comes their way, like the golf clubs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and that's just a silly example of just
Oh,
like how
sure.
frustrated, you know. But it's also been one of those, you can't really have anything unless you could give it. You know, just having something sitting somewhere doesn't really mean you have it, because you're not doing nothing with it. It's not giving. It's not pouring into yourself or anybody else. So what is it? It's just that. It's just a thing. So when you have these and you understand that a lot of people don't, and then you also realize that that helps you, enables you, and to be able to provide for others, immediate, distant, however, it gets back to that connection thing where it's like, okay, I have an ability that others don't. As frustrating as practicing this instrument can be, is a pain in the butt, is messing up notes on live telecasts. It's never happened.
You are perfect. I know that.
We both know that.
Yeah, well, I mean, just even on my trumpet, I wrote "enjoy this" on the front of it, just because some days weren't as lovely as I wanted it to be, and then that's also why that gratitude word is in there, because it's just like, if I'm just grateful for being there, all the external kind of issues that come along and maybe freak me out in my performance and whatever, it's just like, you know, I'm here playing trumpet with them, and they're awesome, and in front of them, and they're great, and like, we get like, all right, just whew, just, and then in
Melts
a
away,
grateful
doesn't
spirit,
it?
all these things just get shedded, and it's such a light. And that's why it was so funny that, you know, he put that word in there, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, that was a little jerky of you. Like, this is my necklace. And I'm like, okay, like I appreciate your observation because he has another vantage point, and he's a good friend. So he saw something that made a lot of sense, and it's certainly worked. Now, if you want to start talking about what this does on a day to day, that's one instance of that trickling in all over and a lot. But just like I was saying, there's a gravity on it. Just when I will always wear it out, and just people constantly just like, what is that? And you just tell them what it is out the gate, and they just smile, and they're just like, awesome. And just that little spark of joy is that butterfly wing that could just cause this like positive tsunami. I mean, you don't even know where that person's coming from or where they might have been going, and just them just catching the necklace and then hearing some good news on it. It's like that could have just changed their whole pendulum in the other direction. And like, I mean, it really could change a whole life just in that spark right there. And I've seen it happen. I get it a lot going through security. That's always the fun one because they think it's something dubious. They always come at me with an attack, and I'm just like, well, actually, and they're like they're just angry. And I think it makes them happy. I think it kind of just offsets them on their daily like attack, and just to like get it, you try to like shoot and like hit a wound or a target, and then just bounce back butterflies are just like
That's
good.
Wow, yes, because that you absolutely are being present in that moment, because people can react to you were attacked, but no, I'm coming back with love and the message of unifying, of repairing our own vessels, of filling ourselves back up with everything we need to make us the best versions. And you have done that, and just watching your journey. And yes, we've together gone through those valleys and hills together, right? And we're always there for one another. But you are such a kind and beautiful soul, because you're always calling, all right, I need 11 more, I need 11 more, whatever it may be. And I have to share this because not only how much it touched Marla and I, and I'm taking us back to this past November, and you call me up, and it's a week before Christmas, and like, because your number is 11, and you're like, I need 11 and 10 to 6 for some family and friends, and I'm like, awesome. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Sean, I have to tell you about the new one for all of the at-risk children around the world, which we're going to need another call for that later. But you're like, wow, just blown away. And I saw the emotion in your face. And you said to me and Marla, and it just like we had just received the first 1,000. So like it literally just arrived, and you happened to call. Again, no coincidences. I think it was even that day. And you're like, this is incredible. We're going to make sure we get one to every child around the world. I know how important that is to you. And you said, I would like to purchase the first 11. And I'm like, holy shit. Like I wasn't even expecting that. Just, it filled up our hearts. So I said, hold on a second. I'm messaging my dear friend Laura, who is a 6th grade teacher in a low poverty area in Arizona called Tolleson, who she's been sharing with her 6th grade class for a year to all of her students about her intention statement for a teacher or in a lower poverty area. $59.99 is a lot of money, and it could be a lot of money for some people regardless. So I messaged her on Facebook, and I said, Laura, my dear friend Sean just gifted the first 11 of the 75 children in the entire 6th grade of Tolleson. And at that second, it's 2:30 in the afternoon, she messages us right back and says, I'm sitting here crying with a smile on my face because that 3 children had run away that day. And she knew this tool, this gift would touch these souls to not go home to maybe an abusive family, or to stand up to bullies, or to know a better day is coming and this too shall pass. These kids will get through these obstacles, and they're going to remember the gift from you and the gift from the teacher, and know when they're tested, because we are, the more good we do, the harder we're tested, but it will never take them off of that path with a heart. They are going to grow up living a life of intention. They're going to grow up and know they're going to come back to help kids or others in their community, like you're doing, the gift you've been given with your music, your trumpet, your heart. And since then, just fast forward because we haven't caught up. So 11, we're sitting on my desk, and I think I showed you the picture. I think I FaceTimed Laura with you, and we got to all meet. And the 11 are sitting on my desk that you had just purchased. A friend comes in 30 minutes after we finished talking, and she's like, "What's that?" That's a whole nother story. She says, "I'd like to add 22 to that pile." And then another friend, one, and then another friend, maybe three weeks later, he called up and said, "I'd like to donate some money for intention sticks to maybe someone who doesn't have one." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, Ross, I got to tell you about the new one." And he's like, "That's incredible." And he purchased the last 28 of the intention sticks for all the children in the 6th grade. And I messaged Laura again, and I said, "Laura, the last 28 of the 75 children, the intention sticks were just received." And she said to me at that moment, she was standing in front of her classroom, bawling and couldn't move. She had no words other than pure gratitude for what you started to bring that momentum to make sure we reach all of these beautiful souls, to let these kids know they're loved. They're surrounded by love. They matter. They have purpose, and they're just as important as anyone else. And they will remember not just you. They will remember that teacher or that mentor. And this is why I know we were brought into each other's lives, to make sure.
Yeah, well, what you've done is exactly what your shirt says. Hope for the day. And what you're giving for these children is to know that a better day is to come, to have hope for another day, to lead them to faith, to lead them to gratitude, to lead them to compassion for all other humans that they're surrounded by. And so, yes, we do feel gratitude to you. We feel your gratitude, but also we're giving it back to you for everything that you're doing.
Again, on this cosmic connection of things, again, what I was going to get to before you even mentioned that was, you didn't put out these 11 that I bought in order to sell them to that person, in order to hustle up more for that person. It was just, these are these things that are happening and they're good. And then somebody else just comes in and is like, heck yeah, that's good. Let's keep this on the good foot. And without even me knowing the rest of that story, because I didn't know that all that just happened until, so this just goes to show that light is a snowball in that butterfly effect. And the fact that you're pointing this out, this is a nonprofit out of Chicago, Hope for the Day. It's okay to not be okay. I just happen to be wearing this. So
I've had the chills.
Yeah.
No,
check
you
them out.
No, you didn't. We were guided. And I want to add to the story because I shared, so what took place because of your 11. So I want you to understand how impactful and why there's no coincidences, there's no randomness, there's no by chance. So those 11 from you that you donated for those beautiful children were sitting on the desk. 30 minutes later, our beautiful sister Dre comes in also to purchase a bunch of intention sticks for family and friends. And she looks down and she's like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Oh my goodness. These are the new intention sticks for all of the at-risk children around the world." And she starts to well up. And I've got Marla on the phone with us. And she starts telling us that 3 years ago, she started something called Bag of Change. She was helping this beautiful center in Phoenix. It was rescuing young women and men from sex trafficking, and this beautiful safe home to give these people shelter and clothing, education, just everything to put them back on track. And she said, when my daughter was 8, we started Bag of Change, where we take all the change in our jar and from friends, and it was like $20 worth and $20 from other friends. And they would go to the dollar store and they'd buy like journals and hairsprays and different little things, put them in beautiful bags, take them down to the Dream Center to pass out during Thanksgiving and Christmas to all of these beautiful young men and women. And we but she said, I would just give them the bags and there was a disconnect. I wasn't feeling like satisfied. I still felt empty. Like there was something still missing. And Marla said to her,
well, what I said to her was, well, at what point did someone say that giving ended with food? At what point did someone say giving ended with a pair of socks or a bed? I said, that's why the numbers keep growing and things aren't changing, because when we cut children off from the tools that they need, meaning consciousness, then how do we expect them to overcome their circumstance? We have to teach them to nurture their souls, to love themselves, to give themselves self-confidence, self-esteem, to know that a better day is to come.
So she's bawling and she says, that's it. She said, I'd like to purchase 51 of those intention sticks, because that's how many young women and men were at the Dream Center at that time, and that we would all go down there to present these young women and men the intention stick. And she says, and by the way, I'd like to add 22 more to that pile that you started. So to share how powerful this is, about 3-4 weeks later, Marla, myself, Dre, and Dre's daughter went down to the Dream Center. And it was hard, because I can't even imagine what these young women and men had gone through, what they've been through, and where they are right now. And Dre spoke, and then Marla spoke, and then I spoke. And it was hard. I had to hold that space, because you don't go up and talk to these beautiful souls about, you're going to get through this and you got to, and no. How do you tell someone that's been through what they've been through, you need to have faith? No, you need to give them hope, right? They are so pushed down that we need to give them that spark, that butterfly, just something better's coming. And I started saying, which wasn't easy, that I said that if you, and I'm talking to everyone, if you can look at everything in your life happening for you, everything in your life has been a gift, and it brought you to the next place in your life, and it made you who you are today. Wow, right? And then you watch them start filling up, like it wasn't someone just trying to preach, and it was talking to their hearts and souls. And we had the entire room stand up. As you know, we formed a circle. We all held hands. And we did those blessings, as you know, so very well. And every one of these young women and men chose their intentions. And you're hearing laughing and crying, and they're asking questions, because they knew that a better day was coming. They were going to get through what they've gone through, to know they're going to come back to help someone. They're going to remember you, Dre, the center, and so forth. This is why we're here. We are all brought here and given our tools, our gifts, to share with another soul, to touch another one, another 100,000, another million, another 7 billion plus. And we are. I know you know that. You know, when we speak, there's nothing that will ever take us out of our path of what we are brought here to do collectively, because it has nothing to do with Marla and I. It is about us collectively finally understanding in this world that we are all the same. No one is better than someone, and no one is worse. I don't care what someone says. That's ego, that's fear. There is no black, white, pink, yellow. There is no Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, Muslim. Our souls in this world are the same. we forgot, and it's time now to make sure everyone understands that, and that we are here to be as one and love everyone the same.
Yeah.
We're doing it. So that, by the way, is that ripple, that boulder you dropped that day that created the waves for.
Yeah, but again though, because that was a wave that came back from you, that came from something else. It didn't start with me, because I didn't, that's just a decision that happened in the process.
Yes.
So, if it was me, then it was my mom, then it was and I'll say I want to commend you for talking to them like that, because it's somebody once told me there's a difference between being buried and being planted, and that one hit me really hard. And I think it's pretty much just kind of like your choice of how you take it, because you're getting shovels of dirt, you're getting dug deep, and it's really easy to feel buried. But the farther down you get, like, the stronger your roots and foundation, and when you grow out of that thing, you're the strongest tree out there. So yeah, that's a very positive word out there.
Yes, and that's what we're doing, right? We're all of us together, is making sure that each child feels exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that Marla brought to my attention, that is on our website. And I think Marla and I shared this with you, but talk about how apropos, and it's an ancient Greek proverb that says a society grows great when old men plant trees in which they know the shade they will never sit in.
Mm.
It's about the children,
yeah,
grandchildren, the great
generations.
It is to grow up living a life of intention, to see everyone the same, to live fearlessly, but to live in bliss and enjoy the ride, not to know the turmoil, the negativity, the divisiveness in this world, because no one should be witnessing this. Because when we can see that we are all the same and stop coming from ego and fear and being sheep in the herd, this is heaven on earth. We don't need a dire transition to go to heaven. It's all around us, and it's within us all. And it is within you, my brother. And I am, as Marla, just honored to call you my friend, my brother, my family, and here with you every day as we're with you every day. And
you already know. I mean, it's just a trip. Again, I couldn't have wrote this out if I was Shakespeare. Just like, yeah. And I look back and I'm like, of course that happened, because that's what I needed. That's how it happened. This is, and again, this works in the reverse way of what I was talking to. Some days I'm in a funk and somebody's like, what is that? And it just breaks me out of like where I'm at. And then I'm just like, oh yeah, it's this. and because it just gives me that moment to just break away and think and reflect, and even just that breath that I have to speak what it is to somebody just makes me just realize, like, okay, we're in here. And it's an awesome, I don't mean product as like a thing, but like it produces, it does things. It's an active set of, that's why it's so cool.
It has its own heartbeat.
It's awesome.
And that's why sometimes you even forget it's there, because it becomes a part of who you are.
Definitely.
Oh my goodness. And I'm so fulled up. I'm so fulled up. I can't even speak.
You're in there. Hey,
we're in it, man.
You can't speak.
I literally.
Do you believe it?
I know. I am from you so full, so filled up with love and gratitude, because this is that inspiration that comes from your heart. That is that gratitude, right? This is just who you are, and you are that beautiful and bright light. And someone that is maybe watching for the first time, that really may not even have one or understand or someone going through something, or their journey as a child or even as an adult, that how you would share how this could help them, or what you can share with them that it's helped you, if that makes sense.
Oh, well, like I said, just how it has helped is, again, and it always kind of comes from the side. I mean, because it's it's on my chest like a Superman vest, but
I love it.
it it's just always present that when somebody asks me about it, that it either brightens their day up, or it resets me and grounds me back to understanding that whatever funk I was in, it removes me from it. It doesn't mean that what I'm going through doesn't need to be dealt with or handled, but it does just give me okay, like I got my things, but it's not everything. It's not everything. I got so much to be grateful for. I got so much, and it's like, nah, we're good. Thank you for that breath before I go back down and fix my boat.
Yeah.
And then if I'm having a good mood, and it just gets it even bigger and brighter. If they're having a bad mood and they're trying to check me at the border and thinking I'm doing something weird with it, or somebody like, why are you wearing like a whistle? And I'm like, well, it's loud and clear though, isn't it? So it just always whatever it is always just adds these positive points on it, and again in a kind of chaotic hurricane of life that generally is around me, be it just like my job, work, or just my upbringing and whatever. It just always adds a positive like calmness or joy, and just like a reflective place of positive light, and again it's very consistent. That's why it's always on, because it's just like, no, this is a part of me. And I appreciate your words about me and my personality, but that's not how it feels for me all the time. My inner dialogue is it can be very wretched and poisonous sometimes.
Mhm.
And just to have these conversations, and again, this always being a spark and a generator of it, whether it's you or other people, it's like a life jacket.
That's beautiful.
Oh,
Oh, wow. Thank you for just your wisdom and your beautiful interpretation, because that's so powerful, and just so blessed that we're all in each other's lives. And thank you, Brian and Spencer, and just the beautiful souls that we keep connecting with around the world, and the beautiful light and love you continue to spread, because as you do know, you are as important to this as Marla and I, and the love that you continue to share. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, there's none. Thank you. No, and like I said earlier, we're honored to call you our brother, and you are with us every day. And I know you know that, and I love you.
Yeah, love you guys too. Hopefully, I'll be out in Arizona one of these years.
Listen, we show up wherever you are.
Wherever you are,
You know what? I'm throwing you under the bus for a second. So, and I hope it's okay. Do you happen to have your trumpet handy?
Why?
You want to just a couple licks, a couple notes, or?
I mean, I wouldn't, but now nobody's gonna believe me that I do it.
I love it. It just came through me, and normally I don't. But listen, it comes from your heart, and for you to share that with everyone right now, we would be honored.
All right, my valves are a little sticky, so we'll see how this goes.
All right, awesome.
that was written by Charlie Chaplin. They might think it's a myth, but it's smile. Smile.
Absolutely.
Thank you. What a perfect.
Gift.
Yes.
And on the 4th of July weekend, right, to celebrate, to have those lights go off within everyone's heart and soul. And that was such a beautiful way to start this celebration of 4th of July weekend, man.
And just smile at someone.
Yes. Yes, it's as simple as that act of kindness, to smile or wave or just, how's your day? And when we answer, when you ask, how are you? What's our response? Blessed.
What else?
We are blessed. We are all blessed. So we don't want to sign off. I can't wait for our next call, but we have to, my brother. And you know our sign off is one. We love you, we love you, we love you, we honor you, we honor you, we honor you, and we're sending you and your family blessings and intentions of gratitude, light, and love. Just right here.
Got you.
My brother. I know you do, and we got you always.
All right.
And
thank you so much. Thank you.
Seriously.
All right. I'll be seeing you mighty soon. We'll just, just keep the
it's already going. You may want to put on a seatbelt for what's coming next. I just want you to know.
I don't know how to drive anymore, so as long as y'all stay.
No, I'm talking.
All right.
I'm talking about the miracle.
No,
I know.
Yeah.
Blessings, my brother. We'll see you soon. It was such an honor.
Keep smiling.
Keep smiling.